And a factor that is fueling the violence and fueling the armed conflict in Kachin State is the jade mining industry. And activists say it is funding the country's powerful military elite. And that is the focus of a new documentary by the advocacy group Global Witness. Earlier, I spoke with campaigner Juman Kubba, and she started by telling me how big Myanmar's jade industry is.
This is an incredibly valuable industry. It's extremely secretive, but over a year and a half of investigations, we were able to dig out enough information to put a number on it. Our estimates put the value of jade production in 2014 alone at up to $31 billion. To put that in context, that's just under half of the value of GDP for the same year. So it's a massive amount of money.
How do the rich jade deposits in Myanmar fuel the deadly conflict, especially in Kachin State?
Our investigations show that you have powerful army generals, figures of the past, like the former dictator Than Shwe, former Northern Commander On Myint, whose families control major jade reserves. We also have military companies that make a lot of money from this industry. At the same time, both sides of the ethnic conflict want strategic control of this valuable resource. And lastly, you have people in the area who feel immense anger over what's happening to the riches from Kachin State. And all of those factors help to incentivize and fuel a conflict that has so far driven around 100,000 people from their homes.
There's another factor, the environmental impact of the jade mining in Myanmar. In your documentary short film, we see sweeping drone footage of what looks like this pockmarked, absolutely devastated landscape. And that was caused by the jade mining industry?
As our documentary shows, you've got mining which has been going on such a scale that the entire landscape has been devastated. Locals talk about their mountains having been turned into valleys. You see landslides which have killed hundreds of people over the last few years. You see rivers which have been destroyed, and the community locally is suffering from impacts of drugs and other social devastation. So all of these issues are hugely problematic. At the same time, you have an industry which could be driving development and isn't. A single stone of the most valuable jade that was sold in 2014 could have funded 147 health clinics in Kachin State for 1 year.
Now, 70% of the world's jadeite comes from Myanmar, and many consumers, especially here in Asia, love to buy jade and jade jewelry. What do they need to know as a consumer, an informed consumer, before they make their next purchase about the real price of jade?
At this point, it's impossible to know that the jade that you buy in the market hasn't in some way helped to support the most notorious figures in the countries and potentially help to fuel conflict. So what consumers need to be doing now is calling on their governments, their companies, anybody who has interaction with the Myanmar government to really reform the industry.
And that was Juman Kubba from Global Witness speaking to me there. And she also told me the government of Myanmar has started some reforms. A suspension in jade licensing has been put into place, and changes are being made to the law.